It's impossible for any embodied being to abstain from work altogether, but he who gives up the fruit of action, he is said to be the relinquisher. In the last verse, God has spoken about agreeable and disagreeable actions, or right and wrong actions. A Medhavi, a wise person, decides that who am I to label these? Who am I to give a label to any action being agreeable or disagreeable or right or wrong? Should I just run after agreeable action and not run after disagreeable action? He does not make such choices. In reality, the feeling that I am deciding and I am choosing are both feelings of egotism. From this begins, I choose. One then thinks that this feels good to me and therefore I'll do this. The other thing does not feel good to me and therefore I will not do it. Therefore we make judges out of ourselves, and this is where egotism begins from. A person who is completely wise has made his ego smaller, and therefore he does not say things such as right and wrong. And their state in the end and the greatness of tyag, relinquishment, is that one does not even have the egotism that I am doing. Otherwise, a person has a very big egotism of leaving things that he has, which is greater egotism when the egotism that comes from having those things. The egotism of having something with him is a very weak egotism, because that egotism is temporary. On the other hand, the egotism of living things is permanent. If I have £10,000 in my pocket and I have an egotism because of this, then I'll also have a fear with it that what if the £10,000 go away? But once I have donated those £10,000 for good causes, in the egotism that I have let go of the £10,000 becomes permanent. In the same way, the egotism that I relinquished and the egotism at the end that I relinquished my ego, that Westerners call the pious ego, is still an ego. A true wise person gives up the choice itself. The person thinks that I am an instrument of the Supreme Soul. This is what great saints call instrumental devotion. Peace only comes into one's life the moment when they become an instrument of God. I once gave a definition of a devotee in one of my discourses. There was an election going on and people kept saying vote, vote, vote. Voting means giving one's opinion that my vote is this. A devotee is one who does not vote. He has no opinion of his own. Whatever is God's wish will be done. Otherwise, the wish of whoever one is performing devotion of is the devotee's wish. If a person has devotions towards their mother, then they think that whatever my mother's wish is, so is my wish. If a person has devotion towards their husband, then she thinks that whatever my husband's wish is, so is my wish. If a person has devotion towards their father, then they think that whatever my father's wish is, so is my wish. If a person has devotion towards their guru, then they think that whatever my guru's wish is, so is my wish. And if a person has devotion towards the Lord, then they think that whatever my Lord's wish is, so is my wish. This is bhakti devotion. In the 11th verse, God uses the word deha bruha, embodied being. One who resides within the body is deha bruha, embodied being. Deham bribati iti deham bruttena deva bruta. One who has taken a body is a deha bruta, embodied being. Shri Krishna says that it is impossible for any embodied being to be completely give up all works. This can be the first meaning of this verse. God had said in the 3rd chapter of the Gita that Shari Yatra api chate na prasidat akarmana. Even the maintenance of your physical life cannot be effected without action. And even if you do not do anything else, at least you're taking breaths, and breathing is an action. If a person gives up all actions, then their body will stop. While one has a body, it is impossible to not perform any actions at all. That is why Shri Krishna says that one who is a renuncier of the fruits of action is said to be a true tyagi, renouncer. This is one meaning. And a second meaning is that an embodied being can never renounce actions. It depends on what you give importance in this. If you give importance to an embodied being, then God is trying to say that while one has this attitude that I am the body, I am the doer, I am the husband, I am the owner of money, I am knowledgeable, I am powerful, then it is impossible for one to renounce actions. This is because while I am remains, then actions will remain. Therefore, in order to become a true tyagi, renouncer, the I must first be renounced. Only then can one become a true tyagi, renouncer. If one says this, then it is of a very high level. This verse can be understood from two levels. This verse can be understood from an ordinary level, by an ordinary worshipper who is beginning his journey, that for such a person it's not possible to renounce all actions. The Gita tells such a person to renounce the fruits of actions in order to become a sannyasi, a person of renunciation. And after reaching the peak state, one can get a different meaning of this verse from Shri Krishna, that it is fine that you have renounced everything, now even renounce the fact that you have renounced. This verse can be understood from these two levels. The renouncer of the fruits of actions is a true tyagi, renouncer. A person who renounces actions is not a true tyagi, renouncer. To date, you see a lot of people in society who renounce actions. These are escapists. People want everything to happen in their own way. What problems are there? The problems in families and societies and even workplaces? Each and every person has it in their mind that it's my way or no way. People have the attitude that if actions are going to take place, then they should take place in the way that I want. If they do not take place in the way that I want, then I'll give up actions. A father tells his own son that, son, you come to the office and come at 9 a.m. The son says that I will not come at 9 a.m. The father says, son, it is necessary. You come to the office at 9 a.m. We will finish our work at the bank until 9:30 a.m. The son says that, no, I will not come to the office. And on the other side, it is the father then says that if you want to come, then come at 9 a.m. Otherwise, there's no need for you to come here. Both of these are living extremes. And this is where the difficulties come from. It is very easy to renounce actions. In reality, these people are not renouncing actions. They are not in a position to choose, and they're basically running away from actions. People are running away from action. Then we say in our minds that I gave up and I renounce it. You have not renounced it. You have run away from it. There can be many reasons for this. If a person does analysis of themselves, then they realize what the reasons were. It could be the person's own stubbornness, the person's own misunderstanding, the person having no strength of making other people understand, the person's own impatience, etc. There can be many such reasons, and that is why people give up action. When people have to go to a wedding reception, then the husband tells his wife to wear a yellow sari. The wife then says that she's not going to come to the wedding reception. The husband asks, why is this so? The wife says that I wish to wear a blue sari. See, have they not given up the action of going to the wedding reception? They have given it up, but you cannot say that they are tyagi, renouncers. What I mean to say is that because of this attitude, a stress arises in families, in society, and in relationships. Secondly, people have an inferiority somewhere inside, and because of this, they give up action. This is the state that Arjun was in the first chapter of the Gita. He had a misunderstanding and a misinterpretation, as well as an attitude of believing that what I'm thinking is right. Then what a person does is that because they are not prepared to accept their own inferiority or their own misunderstanding, they glorify the activity of leaving the action. They think that they have performed a very big tyag renunciation and try to show this. The other person understands that he is glorifying this, yet it is not worth glorifying. This person wanted a reason to leave the action. The other person cannot see the reason, and therefore he does not give the reason. This leads to a conflict of pulling and pulling back and forth. As a result, inferiorities arise in the mind. For this, a person should understand that it is not necessary to leave actions. It is necessary for one to understand the right way to perform actions. One should understand how one should perform actions in a right way. A human being should understand just this. And I'll say by doing positive thinking that why should one give up actions? People think that I am useless, I can't do anything. Why does this come to one's mind? One should think that I am right. When we see escapism in society today, because of this, a human being himself gets affected, and after another, human beings get affected, then as a consequence, the whole of society is affected. No, this should not happen. Shri Krishna says it very clearly and categorically that one should not give up actions. In these first 11 verses of this 18th chapter, she says the same thing for a very third time, that one who renounces the fruits of actions is a true tyagi, renouncer, not one who renounces actions. Yastu karma phala tyagi satyagi ati abhidyayate. But he who gives up the fruits of action, he is said to be the relinquisher. Now, whenever in life you feel like giving up actions, then remember these words from Shri Krishna. Who can attain liberation? Who can attain the bliss of sannyas, renunciation? Not one who renounces actions, but one who renounces the fruits of actions. When one feels like leaving actions, then they think, why am I running away from this action? If you perform one action, then you begin performing your actions. This is the only way to perform actions, and that there's no other way to perform actions? It's not like that. One action can be performed in many different ways. And if we think about the many different possibilities of this, then we will certainly find a route from which we'll get bliss ourselves, other people will get bliss as well, and everybody will get bliss. Shri Krishna said this in the 12th chapter of the Gita, that Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha, rejoicing in the welfare of all creatures. One should perform such actions that everybody gets bliss. Human beings perform such actions that only the person themselves get bliss out of it, no matter what happens to the other people. Of course, one should certainly want it for themselves to get bliss, and it cannot always be that others get bliss and you keep going through plains. It is not like that. You should get bliss, but you should find such a road where you get bliss, and at the same time the second person gets bliss, and the third person also gets bliss. The more people that get bliss out of your actions, then the better it is. When one renounces the fruits of actions, then this becomes possible. End of the verse.